I need to find McKenna's book on the I Ching so you can read it.
Why?
Because for someone like you, I almost think it should be mandatory. Because McKenna is such a big name. So for you to just kind of get his perspective on the I Ching, he might be able to provide some...
What happened to me is that I was using other methods to use this, other than this. Sometimes I would go to like the internet or whatever, and this reminded me and said, no, you must use this book only, because the cosmos is talking through it, and it'll use certain words or sentences, and that's how it's going to be, it'll... I can't stop.
Do you think you could write your own I Ching book? Do you think that that's something that the cosmos would ever lead you to do?
Maybe, but these women...
Maybe I'm suggesting it, so you should do it.
Well, no, it's just brilliant what they come up with. What they did was they started talking to the I Ching and saying, let's go through the original, standard, most accepted versions of the I Ching. Like there's like the Willem Baines one, and let's talk to the universe or cosmos through it, and let's just get things straight. And it was like an exhaustive approach, and they uncovered absolutely new concepts in the universe, like, probably not new, but just not known. And it's just incredible. Really, like, if you really follow,
right,
like, faithfully.
What if this? What if they refined and gave a facelift to what had already been established and needed a facelift up until that point? But right now, maybe because we have new verbal constructs to look to, better metaphors to use, the same could be applied to the I Ching, you know what I mean? Like a more accurate version, or a version of it that could provide more information.
That's true, and that's what I do every time that I'm using it, because it's...
I could be off. I mean, I don't know enough to really, but I'm just guessing.
What happened originally was, I think it was the shamans in Asia that developed the system, and they knew what they were doing, and they knew probably what I know now about things. But so then the English came over and discovered the I Ching and then translated it to English, which they were doing it at an intellectual level and not at a shamanistic level. And it wasn't about transformation, it was about concepts, spiritual concepts, intellectual concepts, and even to the point of describing it as an mathematical system, which it is, but that's not what it is. You know, it's like that's how it sort of works, but that's how the universe is talking to us, is through mathematics. Vibration. So people would, intellectuals would say, oh, it's just this coin following that coin, and that's just a mathematical chance and no chance, whatever they would use to describe that, right? But in fact, no. The cosmos is talking through it, and this is just sort of like a telephone line, sort of. And what you're actually doing, and it reminds me of it all the time, is creating new understandings. Every time I go to ask a question, it's to do with my specific life situation, which is absolutely new to me. We're creating new understandings, even of what they've already uncovered here, right? So it's technically, I'm already rewriting it, but I just haven't written it down. It's just in my head, and then some of it's lost because I can't remember everything. Because the cosmos is constantly evolving, and it's evolving through the situations in your life.
Could numbers, if you were to say that numbers have a spirit to them, that they have meaning to them, could you almost argue that a number, like the number 1, you could all, from a multi or a super-dimensional perspective, break down every number into multiple symbols, that every number has sort of other meaning built into it? For us, is a method of counting, of, you know, making equation. But on like a hyper level, a number could be broken down into sort of sub-symbols or subsets.
I think, but
you know what I mean?
I can speak to it.
But yeah, we don't, yeah,
Yeah.
for us to conceive of it would be to go into a dimension of information that once we would start exploring that, like who knows what types of technological leaps could come of it, you know?
Like there's cosmic laws everywhere.
I'm just
including-
talking out of my ass right now, by the way.
Yeah, but you're right. There is significance to the numbers, and someone who's very, like a Kabbalion, that's what they understand the universe to be. That's why they use their systems, because the Kabbalists, Jewish Kabbalists, they're very aware of that idea. And, but I'm not, maybe I'm just not smart enough, like, not smart enough, but just not aware, but this is, I have faith and I have heart, so I'm willing and sincere, and I've stumbled quite a bit with this, but then the more I did exactly what it said for me to do, like to the letter, kind of like following a recipe. You know, when it said go away for 3 days, it takes a bit of discipline to just say, I'm doing what I'm asked, and to go against what your ego wants, which is usually immediate gratification, and the answer to all of its problems the way it wants it to be solved, you know, that I have to turn away from that and just say, no, okay, I'm going to do it the way you're asking me to. And there's one part, like I said, I missed, and I just sort of rediscovered it, and that's been very important. Like, there's one line that I got a million times, and that was, oriented. One was that the helpers are disabled. It says, this is the line, it says, underbrushes of such abundance that the small stars can be seen at noon. He breaks his right arm, mistake but no blame. Now, traditionally, in people's description of that line, the funniest things they'll use, they'll say things like, here, I'll give you an example. It's eclipsed, and it'll say, okay, in social relationships, this means the prince is now eclipsed, and that even the most insignificant persons can push themselves into the foreground. This makes it impossible for an able man, though he's the right hand of the ruler, to undertake anything. It's as though his arm were broken, but he's not to be blamed for being hindered in action. Well, how can anyone make sense of that? Right, in their own life, they'd be like, okay, it sounds like I can't get what I want, or some sort of simple explanation, right? But when I discovered that they said that means your helpers are disabled, that's very important, because that means that some information or some transformation can't happen. It's blocked. Nothing can be solved there. So then I figured out, okay, ask which helpers. That was like the Pandora's box. When you say which helpers are disabled, it'll just start telling you this and this, and just saying, okay, this is a disharmony, and then do this, do that, that. And then another new discovery I made was, if something is still in the demonic sphere, transformation can't be made. So you have to deal with that too at another level. So then once you do that, then it says, okay, now transformation. And as this book, the whole book is related to how transformations are made at the atomic level, and how that changes all consciousness. And that's the only way to go. That's it. Everything else is just a change or a new direction, but it's not the correct direction. It's not a wholesome direction in terms of for the best for all concerned. I don't know if I explained this right.
I think that's good enough for now.
I'm telling you about it.